Okay, so this is what we were going to come back to. So I'm just going to review from right here. If you look at our first problem, it says x plus 7 is greater than 1. So remember, when we're solving for equations, we're always trying to get x by itself. And in this case, x is not by itself. So we need to get x by itself. And the one thing that we need to remember is you can kind of imagine that that's an equal sign when you're solving, and then put the inequality sign back in at the end. So if we look here, what we would do in an equation, if the sign were equal, we would subtract 7 from both sides, and then we get x, and just put our inequality back in, is greater than -6. So on my graph, and I didn't put numbers on these graphs, but I can just put, I could actually just put -6 like that, and then go back in, and it's greater than, so it would look like that, and go to the right. X is greater than -6. So again, all we're doing here differently is that we have to get the variable by itself, and in this case it's m. So here we're going to add 3 to both sides. And we're just going to, you can continue to keep that line there. That cancels out, and we have m is less than 9 plus 3, which is 12. So again, I can just put a 12 here, and my circle, and this time m is less than, to the left, less than left. So my graph would look like that. Let's do another one here. -4, so this is a little bit tricky. -4 is less than or equal to x minus 3. And the reason that it's tricky is because we have our x on the right-hand side of our inequality. So I can draw my line, and I'm going to do everything the same. I'm going to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I'm going to get -1 is less than or equal to x. Okay, so here's what I like to do. When x, and I'm going to make a little note. When x is on the right, switch it. Oops, what am I doing? To the left. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Left. And then switch the direction of the sign. Okay, so that means I'm going to switch it so my x is on the left. X is on the left. And then I'm going to switch the direction of my sign to say this way. My equal sign stays the same. And then -1. So x is greater than or equal to -1. Now it said above it, it says -1 is less than or equal to x. Those are saying the exact same thing, but I like to read it with the x on the left. So again, here I can just put a -1, and it's greater than or equal to -1. So my line is going to go this way. And you'll have time to practice that when x is on the left. But we just need to remember to switch it and then change the direction of the sign. Okay, let's look at sum in words. The sum of x. Okay, let's look at number 4. This is just, again, the words. The sum of 15 and, n is less than 8. The sum of 15 and n is less than 8. I know that the word sum means to add. So the sum of 15 plus n is less than 8. The sum of 15 and n is less than 8. I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. N is less than negative 7. So again, I'm going to put negative 7. Make my circle, and n is less than or to the left this way. Okay. The difference of m and 3 is greater than or equal to 10. So my key words here are difference is greater than or equal to. So the difference of m and 3, m minus 3, is greater than or equal to 10. Again, I need to solve to get m by itself, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. M is greater than or equal to 13. I can put 13 here. And greater than or equal to means I'm going to color it completely in. And it's greater than, so it's going to the right. And again, I know this seems like a lot right now, but you're going to have lots of practice with this. Okay, so this is just a reminder of what you did on your homework last night. So we're just writing an equality that's represented by the graph. So here, again, I look at the number 4 and put x over here. And I know that it's filled in, so it's going to have an equal sign, and it's going to the left. So x is less than or equal to 4. Number 7, I look for my number 3. I'm going to put x on the left. It's an open circle, so it's not going to have equal to. So it's going to, and the arrow is going to the left again, so x is less than 3. Okay? I'm going to let you do 8 and 9, and then also go ahead and do 10 through 15. So come back and do those on your own. But I want to look really quickly at the new rule about multiplying and dividing. So when we multiply and divide, and this is what we just talked about above, notice here that the x is on the right. I want to switch my x, and by switch my x, I mean this whole thing over there. So we can solve first, or we can switch the order first. So if we switch the order first, we're going to put that over there, and we're going to have 7x. But remember, we have to switch the sign, is greater than 28. That's switching the order first. Now, if we solve first, we're going to divide both sides by 7, and we're going to get 4 is less than x, and now we're going to switch it. So it would say x is greater than 4, and that's going to be your answer here. If we look over here and we solve it, we divide both sides by 7, and we get x is greater than 4. So both answers are correct. And again, we're just graphing it. Okay, the very next and last part to this is that when we multiply or divide by a negative, we must always switch the sign or switch the direction of the sign. Only if we're multiplying or dividing by a negative. If we're multiplying and dividing by a positive, it doesn't matter. But if we're multiplying and dividing by a negative, we have to switch the sign. So let's look at a couple here. We have negative 3x is greater than 27. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. And I get x is greater than 9. Since I divided by a negative 3, since that 3 was negative, I have to switch the sign in my answer. So it's going to be x is less than 9. So that's the only thing you need to do when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative. And again, we can just put 9 here, and we have a circle at 9, and it is less than 9, so it's going to the left. Let's do one where we multiply, because we have to switch the sign there too. So to solve this to get x by itself, we're going to multiply both sides by negative 2. Multiply by negative 2. That cancels out. We have x is greater than or equal to negative 8. Since we multiplied by a negative, we have to switch the sign. So x now is less than or equal to negative 8. And that's your answer. So we can go ahead and graph that at negative 8. And it's less than or equal to, so our circle is filled in. And it's going to the left, less than or equal to. Okay. So again, fill in the last two and those one above before you turn these notes in. And you will have more practice to do this on the practice sheet that goes with this video. Let me know if you have any questions.